Welcome to Simply Excel. In this video I'm going to show you 10 really handy keyboard shortcuts and also a few bonus ones along the way. Keyboard shortcuts are so useful in Excel because they allow you to carry out actions without taking your hand off the keyboard, going to the mouse or navigating through lots of complicated menus. It's really worth taking the time to learn a few common ones because they will save you so much time. The first one I'm going to show you is how to select your whole data area. To do this using the mouse, I would need to select my first row and then drag down, and I've got thousands of rows in this spreadsheet, so it would take me quite a while to get to the bottom. So instead I'm going to show you the keyboard shortcut for doing this, which makes it a 2-second job. Starting in our top left cell, we're going to press CTRL and SHIFT together, and then while holding those down, press the right arrow. And you'll see that that's selected the area just as far as the data goes to the right. Continuing to hold down CTRL and SHIFT, we press the down arrow, and we've jumped right down to the bottom of the spreadsheet, and you can see it's just neatly selected the area that contains data. First little bonus for you here. To return to the top of our sheet, we're just going to press the Control key and the up arrow, and that's jumped right back up to the top row that contains data. Similarly, to get to the bottom row that contains data, we can press Control and the down arrow, and that's just navigated our selected cell down to the bottom there. And again, that works if we go Control right, it jumps to the far right hand side, and Control left jumps back to the first column. So that's really handy just for navigating around your data area. Second shortcut I'm going to show you is how to select an entire row or column just using the keyboard. We use our arrow keys to navigate to the row that we want to select, and then press Shift and Space. And you'll see that selected the whole row, and this time it's gone all the way across, so it's not just selecting our data area, it's selecting that entire row. Similarly, if we want to select a column, we can pick any column, press the Control key and the spacebar, and you'll see that selected the entire column. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to copy the cell above. So this is a really handy way to complete data in your spreadsheet. So we select the first empty cell below the one that we want to copy and press Control and D, and we can go across the whole row, so we can replicate this row, and similarly we can carry that on downwards as many times as we like. You'll also notice that's copied the formatting, so that's really handy. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to repeat the last action that you took on a cell. If, for example, we wanted to highlight Norway, we go and fill that cell yellow. All we need to do is scroll down to the next instance of Norway and use the F4 key. You'll see that that's copied the highlighting that we put on, and if we did that again, we can do that anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the same column. That's a really handy way of just repeating an action you did without having to go back up to the menu and click on that. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to quickly put an AutoSum on your table. So you can do this by clicking in a cell that you want to sum. So say we want to sum the total medals, and then we can click on the AutoSum button, or we can do it through the keyboard just by pressing the Alt key and equals. And you'll see, as per the normal AutoSum behaviour, that's selected the range of cells it thinks you want to include in that sum. And to do that, we just press Return. And you'll see that there's been 9,524 medals in total. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to add today's date into a cell just by using two keys. So press the Control key and the semicolon, and you'll see that's inserted today's date. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to add a filter to your data. So instead of selecting all your data and coming up to the sort and filter and applying a filter, we can just do this with a simple keyboard shortcut, and that is Control, Shift and L. And you'll see that's applied a filter to all our columns. So we can go to any column now and filter that data using these drop downs. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to freeze your top row or your first column, or to just apply a normal freeze panes but using keyboard shortcuts instead of the menus. So to freeze the top row, we can select anywhere in the table, press the Alt key and then WFR, and that's frozen the top row. So now when I scroll down my sheet, my top row stays and the data below scrolls. Similarly, selecting anywhere on our sheet, holding down the Alt key and WFC freezes the first column. So now when we move to the right, we'll see that our athlete names stay and the other data scrolls across. And finally, if we wanted to freeze multiple rows or columns, So we could, for example, freeze the header row and the athlete name and country. We'd click in the cell that we want to freeze on, hold down the Alt key and press WF F. And that freezes both that top row and those first two columns. If we then want to unfreeze our panes, we can hold down the Alt key and press WF F again, and that will undo freezing either the top row, the first column, or your freeze panes. The next keyboard shortcut I'm going to show you is how to insert a new line in a cell. As you might know, if you start typing in Excel and then press return, instead of giving you a new line and doing a carriage return, it moves you down to the next cell. So in order to insert a new line in the same cell, rather than moving into the next cell, we start typing again and then press the Alt key and return, and you'll see that that's allowed us to add line 2, line 3, and so on. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is how to insert a hyperlink into a cell. If, for example, we wanted to link the athlete name to their Wikipedia page, all we do is press CTRL and K. That brings up the hyperlink dialog box. We paste our destination in, press return, and that cell has now become a link, and you can tell it's become a link because it's changed format. It's now blue with an underscore. And if we then click on that cell, it launches the Wikipedia page for Michael Phelps. I really hope you found these keyboard shortcuts useful. Please do like the video and subscribe to my channel for more Excel tips. Thank you very much for watching.